In the headlines, traditional ruler, 21 others kidnapped in Taraba. Bandits abduct village head imam in Zamfara. NCC directs service providers to disconnect lines without NIN. On the foreign scene, 5 dead in suspected ADF attack in Uganda. Hello there, good evening and welcome to the news update on Trust TV. I'm Abdullahi Ahmed. We start in Taraba, where 21 people, including the third-class chief of Pupule community in Yoro local government area of the state, Umaru Nyala, have been kidnapped. They were taken at gunpoint by suspected kidnappers who invaded the village at about 2 a.m. on Tuesday, shooting sporadically across the community. An eyewitness disclosed that among the 22 people kidnapped was a pregnant woman, people of the same family, and the son of the third-class chief and his security personnel. Now, this is the third time the kidnappers have been asking for ransom in the area in less than 6 months without any culprit arrested. The police in Taraba State say although they are yet to confirm the incident, they have dispatched a tactical squad to the scene for investigation to unravel the details of the incident. Right, in other news, armed bandits have abducted the village head of Rakyabu in Safi local government area of Zamfara state and the chief imam of the village. Although police authorities in the state are yet to confirm the latest abductions, a resident of the area said the bandits had contacted the community demanding 5 million naira ransom. According to him, the community had launched an appeal fund since the incident happened and could only raise 500,000 naira. He says the bandits had collected the sum of 500,000 naira and refused to release the 2 abducted persons. To Kaduna State, where the police has rescued a kidnapped victim after 6 months in captivity. The public relations officer of the Kaduna State Police Command, ASP Mansur Hassan, disclosed this to newsmen in Kaduna, saying the victim was rescued along the Madachi Galadimawa area in Zaria local government area of the state. Hassan says that in the course of its investigations, the police discovered that the victim was kidnapped 6 months ago on his way to Kontagara in Niger State. He noted that efforts are on to arrest the fleeing suspects and also to trace the victim's relatives. Now, after weeks of dramatic twists in River State, the political gladiators in the oil-rich South State have reached a truce on Monday after a meeting with President Bola Tinubu at the Aso Rock Villa in Abuja. The meeting had in attendance Governor Sim Fubara and his predecessor Nyesom Wike, who is the current minister of the Federal Capital Territory. Also at the meeting were ex-River State Governor Peter Odili and some traditional rulers from River State. Vice President Kashim Shettima and the Chief of Staff to the President Femi Bajabiamila were also in attendance. River State has been enmeshed in political crisis over the past 3 months. The rift between Wike and Fubara split lawmakers in the State House of Assembly with 27 of the state lawmakers decamping from the People's Democratic Party to the APC. The feud also saw the emergence of parallel sittings at the House of Assembly, an impeachment plot against the governor, the demolition of the Assembly complex, and a gale of resignations of pro-Wike commissioners in Fubara's state cabinet. The president and some elder statesmen had intervened in the crisis earlier in October, but it degenerated into a full-blown political fight a week ago. A little earlier, we had Daily Trust group political editor Clement Oloyede, who helped us discuss the recent developments in Rivers.
This is the second time the president is more or less intervening in these political crises happening in the states. How far this second intervention will go is still much to be seen. But from the communique read yesterday, it looks more like, without really saying it's more like taking side, it looks like the communique, the resolutions taken, more or less favors the side of the Minister of FCT, yes or Wike. And why I have to say this is that if you look at the way the crisis has progressed over time, it's more obvious that the attacker in this crisis, the person taking the fight forward, has been the side of the former governor. So if the resolutions favors him this time, is left to be seen whether now or whether it will put the matter to rest. But like you said, how this will pan out is still much to be seen. That's why I said it's still left to be seen how this will play out. There are some issues when it gets to the public like this, when it degenerates to the point that people are breaking ranks, people are leaving the party that's All
right, that was Clement Oloyede. Apologies for that mix-up in the graphics, says the group political editor for Media Trust, speaking to us a little earlier on the political crisis in River State following the truce reached by the Wike and Fubara camp after a meeting with President Bola Tinubu at the Villa in Abuja on Monday evening. Let's circle back to the developments in Taraba, where some 21 people were kidnapped alongside a traditional ruler in Taraba State. Joining us now from Taraba State is Magaji Hunkui, Daily Trust reporter in Taraba. Magaji, thank you very much for joining us on the news update. What have we learned about what the police is doing? Has the police confirmed that this development indeed happened, and what are they doing about it?
Yeah, the public relations officer of the Taraba Police Command, Inspector of Police, Usman Abdullahi, confirmed that the second-class chief of Kwaji Chiefdom in Yoro local government was abducted along with his pregnant wife and son and about 17 people in the town.
Right. And what do we know about a rescue effort? Is that on the way? Has the police committed to rescuing the victims that have been kidnapped?
Well, the public relations officers told me that up to now there was no contact between the kidnappers and the family of those that are abducted. So I don't know whether there is any effort being done to rescue those abducted, including the monarch.
Right. So we understand, Magaji, that this is the third kidnapping attack in that community over the past 6 months. Give us an understanding of how persistent these attacks are and what the security situation is like in some of these volatile communities.
No, you see, it's not only the Bufle town that is facing this problem. In fact, many communities around Jalingo and other local government are facing this problem. You know, there was a report by the local hunters that the bandits surrounded Jalingo and other mountain areas, and they are kidnapping. There is that alarm about 2 weeks ago, and I don't know whether there is any measure taken by the security or the government, because this thing is becoming too much.
Right. And what are the people saying regarding the reaction of the authorities when it comes to the gaps in security?
Yeah, people are just appealing to government and the security agents to do something, because they are under threat, because many of them have been kidnapped day and night. In fact, there are communities, rural communities, where these bandits move during the day and night freely with their arms, and they kidnap, they harass at will.
Right. We're just days away from the Christmas celebration. What is your reading of the concerns that people have, and what are the chances that this insecurity might affect people's plans for Christmas?
So that's a serious concern, because even some people have been afraid to move to their communities, because most of these roads leading to villages and local headquarters are not secured.
Right. All right, Magaji Nkwe, Daily Trust reporter from Taraba, thank you very much for the update. I appreciate you very much for joining us.
So thank you very much.
Right, moving on to some of the day's other news stories now. Traditional leaders of Hausa communities in the southwestern part of Nigeria have expressed concerns over the political tensions in Kano in the aftermath of the litigations of the governorship election in the state. At a meeting held at the palace of the Sarkin Hausawa of Egbalan in Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital, the leaders cautioned politicians against destabilizing the polity. Trust TV's Abbas Ibrahim Alibi tells us more.
Addressing journalists after their meeting, the leaders call on the political actors in Kano and Nigeria to amicably resolve the impasses as the political climate in the state is tense ahead of the judgment of the Supreme Court. The Sarki Hausawa of Shagamu, Inuwa Garba, disclosed that the Arewa communities living in the south are concerned about the development in Kano.
Appealing to our esteemed leaders to use their knowledge and political wisdom in dealing with Kano problem so as to avoid violence and mayhem. Kano problem might easily spread to other parts of the country. Such, with due regard to saving the people, their lives and properties, we hope the elders and leaders will apply the wisdom to save the situation. As traditional leaders, we actually want peace and harmony to reign.
On his part, the Sarki Hausawa of Ile-Ife, Lawal Isiaka, urged the federal government to intervene for peace to reign in Kano and Nigeria as whole. The host Sarki, Ibrahim Hassan, who is the Sarki Hausawa of Egbaland, disclosed that the Council of the Sarkis in the southwest will deliver their communique to the federal government through the Obas in the region.
If anything violent starting in Kano State, it will escalate to nation entirely, and we don't want it.
From Abeokuta, Abbas Ibrahim Alibi, Trust TV, Lagos.
To Kogi State now, where the state government has arrested 10 miners operating illegally in Ankpa local government area of the state. The State Commissioner for Solid Minerals and Natural Resources, Bashiru Gegu, disclosed this on Monday to newsmen. Gegu, who noted that operation to stop illegal mining in Kogi State is on course, added that the government has confiscated over 50 trucks carrying coal illegally with the support of the Nigeria Police, the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, the Department of State Services, and other local vigilante groups. The Director General of the Kogi State Special Task Force on Illegal Smuggling of Firearms and Other Related Crimes, Friday Sani Makama, says the task force will no longer entertain business as usual as the state government will crack down on violators. You're watching the news update on Trust TV. Coming up ahead, it's festive season in Jos as Christians count down to Christmas. More on this and many other stories up ahead. Welcome back to the news. Thank you very much for staying with us. Here's a quick recap of our top stories. A traditional ruler, 21 others have been kidnapped in Taraba. Bandits have abducted a village head and an imam in Zamfara State. The federal government says it is tackling the dwindling state of primary healthcare centers across the country through the expansion of human resources for health to meet the demands for primary healthcare at the rural level. At a review meeting with stakeholders in the healthcare sector, the government says it will provide access to service including disease prevention, response to outbreaks, and also work with traditional leaders to engage citizens on the need to access primary healthcare services. Here's the report.
It's the fourth quarter review meeting with the Northern Traditional Leaders Committee on PHC delivery, with deliberations aimed at addressing the challenges of routine immunization and disease outbreaks among other health concerns experienced in the region through PHC services.
The polio issue is still there, even though the wild polio is no longer there, but they still have polio cases, especially in the northwest. What really happened? Have we gone to sleep in some places, and some places we have been wide awake walking? We won't lay blame on anybody, but we will talk about where we went silent.
Many of the northern states that are most affected have security challenges. Communities are difficult to reach. People are moving all of the time to keep safe. Health workers are finding it hard to stay in these places. So all of these things are specific targets of our health system revamp that we're going into now, discussing with the gatekeepers of the communities, the traditional leaders, to say how do we remove some of the barriers to usage of the services, to demand by the people, whether it is the ability to access the services, whether it is the willingness to access the services, where there is hesitancy for vaccines, for example, what is driving the hesitancy and what do we need to do about it.
The Health Ministry says collaboration with the traditional leaders will result in the significant reduction of avoidable death and risks of preventable communicable and non-communicable diseases.
And we use that engagement to share with them the direction of government and call on their partnership with community leaders so that they educate their population to use the services. So that if a pregnant woman discovers she's pregnant, she goes for antenatal care. But when she is about to deliver, she goes to deliver. When her child is delivered, she goes for vaccination. And when outbreak responses are being conducted, they participate and accept the vaccines. These vaccines are provided by the federal government and our development partners. They are not free of cost. They are investments that we're making so that we can safeguard the lives of our children.
At the review meeting, Nigerians were enjoined to take advantage of the efficacy of vaccines following the achievement of a record of 4.7 million vaccinated adolescent girls across 14 states in the first phase of the HPV vaccine against cervical cancer. Aisha Salihu, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Now, the city of Jos in Plateau State has taken a new look as government, individuals and organizations decorate their premises and strategic locations across the city ahead of this year's Christmas festivity and New Year celebrations. Trust TV's Dixon Adama, who visited some of the areas across Jos, reports that Christmas lights and other decorations have further beautified the ancient city of Jos. His report.
Christmas lights are said to symbolize the stars, particularly the Star of David that appeared in Bethlehem on the night Jesus Christ was born. Since then, Christians use Christmas lights in their homes, churches, organizations, streets, among other places. This practice has been in place from time immemorial. A significant aspect of the Christmas lights is the beauty that they add to the environment, especially at night.
And it also gives us the sense of Christmas, makes us enjoy the environment. Even at night, when you're walking, you always have the sense of holiday and you always wish it extends more than December. So today, Christmas light is very important, and the significance we might not know, but as we go on, the joy it gives us is what we are so proud about.
I wouldn't just want us to be carried away by the lightning that makes the environment looks good, but I want the government in Plateau State to also find a way of making the lights in Plateau State to keep shining and shining even after the celebration.
Whenever I see Christmas trees and Christmas lightning, it's a time to relax and enjoy and wind down from a whole year of stress, and then also meet with family members and enjoy the time you have to spend together. But generally, Christmas lighting is always top gear.
This Christmas light is in addition to other Christmas decorations like the Christmas trees, season greetings, signs, flowers, Santa Claus activities, among other things. For sure, this has become an exciting aspect of the Christmas celebration, which Christians faithful often find necessary and appealing, hence the yearly practice by the faithful.
Now, the Nigeria Communications Commission has directed MTN Nigeria, Airtel and other telecommunication firms to fully bar phone lines without the national identification number and those whose NINs have not been verified. This was disclosed in a corporate notice that MTN Nigeria filed with the Nigeria Exchange Limited, revealing the directive from NCC and the attached deadlines for the barring. In the statement signed by its company's secretary, Uto Okpana, MTN Nigeria says this is part of an industry-wide directive that requires phone lines for which subscribers have not submitted their NINs to be barred on or before 28th of February 2024. With regards to NIN that have been submitted but not verified, such lines are to be barred from services on or before 29th March 2024, where 5 or more lines are linked to an unverified NIN. Now, the current directive is a follow-up to the NCC's directive of April 2022, requiring operators to restrict outgoing calls for subscribers whose lines are not associated with NINs. Now, at least 5 people were killed, including a local leader, after suspected rebels from an armed group allied to ISIS attacked an area in western Uganda late on Monday. The area legislature said in a statement released on Tuesday. On Monday, the Allied Democratic Forces attacked Kiabandara Parish in Kamwengi district in western Uganda at about 10 p.m. local time, according to the lawmaker. According to Abigaba, the attackers then killed a local councillor whom they found in a small roadside restaurant she operated alongside 4 of her clients who had just sat down for a meal. The deputy spokesperson for Uganda's military, Dio Akiki, confirmed the attack, saying they would give details later. The ADF was formed as an anti-Kampala rebel group in the mid-1990s and initially battled the government of President Yoweri Museveni from bases in the Rwenzori Mountains. After its formation, the group was eventually routed by the Ugandan army, with remnants fleeing into Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, where they have since orchestrated deadly attacks with thousands of casualties in the last decade across both countries. Elsewhere, at least 29 Palestinians have been killed in an Israeli airstrike in a residential area of Rafah in southern Gaza. The 10 other people were also killed after a hospital was raided in northern Gaza in an attack on a refugee camp in the part of the enclave. Tens of thousands of people, Palestinians, have been displaced and have crammed into Rafah on Gaza's border with Egypt to escape Israeli bombardments further north, despite fears that they will also not be safe in the area. The number of casualties was expected to rise as more bodies were pulled from the rubble, under which people were also trapped. Journalist Abdel Zaroub was among the 29 persons killed in the air raid in Rafah, the government media office in Gaza said in its Telegram channel. Fierce battles raged in northern Gaza, where Hamas continues to put up stiff resistance across what is now considered a battered wasteland 7 weeks after Israeli tanks and troops stormed the area. To sports now, Leon Balogun, who has been one of the regulars in Nigeria's Super Eagles team since he made his debut in 2014, and the national team's #1 goalkeeper at the Cameroon 2021 edition of the Africa Cup of Nations, Maduka Okoye, among players missing in coach Jose Passaro's provincial list for the Cote d'Ivoire 2024 edition of the contingent's biggest football showpiece. All the qualified teams are required to forward to the Confederation of African Football a provisional list of players for the competition. It is from the list that the countries will choose the final 27 players for the competition. Apart from Okoye and Balogun, who just helped Glasgow Rangers to win the Scottish Cup last weekend, the other notable absentees include Odion Igalo, who made a brief return to the Super Eagles team in the build-up to the ill-fated Qatar 2022 World Cup qualifier against Ghana. Injured Taiwo Awoni is unsurprisingly missing from the Super Eagles squad, as he is not expected to heal before January 13, 2024 kickoff of the Nations Cup. But Super Eagles captain Ahmed Musa, who has not played any major role for the team in the last 2 years, as well as former Golden Eagles captain Kelechi Nwakali are also have been included in the shortlist. Now, in the 40-man squad are 6 goalkeepers, 13 defenders, 8 midfielders, and 13 attackers. Well, that's all the news for now. Check back later at 6 for more news update. But for now, follow us across our social media platforms to catch up with more of our contents, and you can visit trusttv.com for the latest news. My name is Abdullahi Ahmed. Thank you for your time. We'll see you later.